welcome to episode 9 of the ClubRacingUK podcast. We have a grinning Nick Holmes, a grinning Stefan Marsh, and a grinning celebrity Ian Waterhouse. We had to pay to get him here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing,
That's
guys?
an absolute lie, might I say.
TV superstar.
TV
good
superstar.
evening, Hello, everybody.
Right, we'll go around the table first. Nick Holmes, how are you, sir?
I'm okay.
Fantastic. I know that's a lie. Stefan Marsh, how are you, sir?
Yeah, not bad. I mean, it's a bit smaller than the last one, but I'm very happy with it. So we'll keep this going. Once again, for everyone that's not watching the video, I'm holding another trophy up. I know it's getting boring, but we'll keep going.
The boys did well last weekend, and we will come round to that.
It's not getting boring. There is nothing boring about winning trophies.
Exceptional. That's what I like to hear. Ian Waterhouse, finally, we come and save the best till last. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, Rob. Thank you. Good evening. Pleasure to be back, as always.
Fantastic. That's what I like to hear. Right, we've got a bit of a different show today. We've gone a bit basic with the racing roundup. We will be rounding up all the racing that's happened in the past 2 weekends. The one thing I did want to talk about today is racing rivalries, and there's two sides to that. There's the club racing one that we have weekend upon weekend. We want to hear from you guys out there commenting. What have you seen? What have you heard? What have you been in around the paddock, around the tracks? And what have you done? Yeah, what have you done? And at the same time, what have you sort of seen sat at the end of the sofa watching happening on screen and wishing there was more of it? I know there's a few that I watched growing up and you just wanted it a bit more because it was fun. But
it just made it lively, didn't it?
to be fair, there is something about a racing rivalry that just juices a series up. Whether it's fun when it then boils over, we'll come on to that and we will debate that later.
Everyone loves a bit of drama.
Everyone loves a bit of drama and a bit of debate, Stefan, definitely.
Definitely.
But as well as that, we've got some fantastic roundups from a certain Mr. Ian Waterhouse, because you've been rather busy, haven't you?
Rob, you know me. I'll try and keep my toes in the game, try and keep busy. Been up and down the country, here, there, and everywhere. Yeah.
I think that's a little bit of an understatement, mate.
Been broadcasting a lot of golf.
Yeah, I think if you haven't been at a motorsport circuit, you've been on a golf course, so you don't live a bad life.
No, and he just got back from Wales actually yesterday, so yes.
Beautiful country, beautiful neck of the woods. Okay, guys, we're going to start off with a racing roundup. We're going to start at Castle Combe because we have an ambassador alert. Again, Mike Bland.
Hello.
Exactly. We need like a siren or something, don't we? We do. We need something to play whenever that happens. Mike Bland was racing in the Castle Combe Hot Hatch in the Green Mean Machine. Both races, he finished 5th in class, 11 overall on a packed grid with some fantastic drivers on there. He's doing really well this year, guys. I'm very impressed with the results he's churning out.
That's it.
Have we got a picture?
We haven't got a picture this week. What I'm trying to do, chaps, we are going to cobble together some video footage of each ambassador and we will do a special feature on them in future podcasts because they're an amazing bunch of people and they need a bit more.
Yeah, definitely.
To round it up, 2 of the grids didn't really have great numbers. The Castle Combe Saloons has slipped down a bit. And the Castle Combe GT, it was won by Tigra Silhouette. It only had 9 to 11 cars finish, which is a bit... I think COVID, mate, we've talked about this before, guys. COVID's kind of played a part, hasn't it? So some grids will suffer. Especially the big bangers. And go on, Nick.
I was going to say, it's not the first time they've been out, and they did all right the first round, didn't they? So maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, it could well be that the dates just clash with other stuff that they're doing, or...
Yeah. Plus, it's still ongoing, isn't it? The situations are still changing, so...
Well, you've seen all these local lockdown. And the thing I asked myself the other day is the local lockdown areas that we're having, if you live in that area and you want to go racing, are you allowed?
No, I don't think you are. You're just stuck.
Technically, it's got to be a no, isn't it? But I suppose we may have to cover that in the future.
to be honest, you can't lock an area down because of high COVID levels and then let everybody out. That kind of defeats the object of locking it down.
Yeah, you can imagine just waltzing up to the checkpoint with a race car on the back and just like, I'm just popping down the local circuit to mince with a load of other racers. So I think that'd go down like a stone. But
checkpoint it's not a bloody zombie movie.
It's getting to that point. Literally, the way 2020 is going, I'm just waiting for someone to pour water on that furry thing at the wrong time, and that's it.
Oh, Gizmo.
Oh, Gizmo.
I saw a brilliant one the other day. I saw somebody said that old Mad Max was set. Was it next year? 2021? That's when Mad Max was done for. So let's be honest. This year might be a walk in the park compared to next year. Could be Armageddon.
Wow, true.
There we go. Okay.
Hey, it would do me a favour, Steph.
We may have to cover Nick Holmes's current. Yeah, we'll cover Nick Holmes's current affairs in the next episode of the Club Racing UK podcast. Castle Combe Hot Hatch had some massive grid on there, absolutely huge. Mike Bland was a part of it, as we've already said. Josh Harvey won both races. Nick Gwinnett followed him as a close second in some of those races. Fantastic cars again. You like the look of that grid, didn't you, Nick?
Oh, I do like the Castle Combe. I mean, the only thing that doesn't appeal to me is the same track every time. But yeah, it's cracking grid. Some awesome looking cars in there, and such a variety as well. Such a mixture of cars in there. I mean, we were lucky. We saw a couple of the usual cars you would see there when we were at SNET a couple of weeks back. But some awesome bits of machinery in there.
Fantastic. Luke Cooper got 2 wins as well in the Formula Ford 1600. Brands Hatch for the BARC as well. We're going to pop down there. We are going to talk a bit about Brands Hatch because Mr. Waterhouse, I believe, was doing something there, taking pictures, maybe a bit of video. I think he's got a YouTube channel. We'll check later. We start with Brick Car, right? We talked about this before. Those Bragas, they are absolute Praga, whatever they are mental.
Praga, yeah.
They are absolutely mental. I think Motorsport Women's as well. They've got some fantastic cars, quick drivers.
It's practically a supercar. We can't go including that in our little podcast.
Yeah, this is.
Do you know what? That's exactly what we said. I was there at Brands, and it's exactly what Liam and I were talking about. Those Pragas coming down, and the Ferraris and stuff. We were like, this isn't really club racing as such, is it? It's not affordable racing, is it really?
The one thing I will say, one part of Brick Car is proper club racing. That's the trophy, and that's what I would call the high ends. Whereas your Brick Car Endurance and your GT Cup, you more or less, that is professional motorsport. But I had to make a note on those Pragas because they look fantastic. And
they do look amazing. They look really, really cool. I am just concerned that Joe Bloggs with his little Fiesta in his driveway over there, he's not going to relate to that.
No, he won't. But he may relate to the trophy results. Barry McMahon won in his Alpha in race number 1. And a Peugeot RCZ won race 2. A Peugeot won race 2.
Yeah, but the RCZ is a sexy car. Anyone agree with me on that one?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
it's nice. Yeah. I agree. Concur.
They are pretty little cars.
Yes.
I bet they make a good-looking race car too.
To be fair, I think it's one of the Cup cars that's sort of been brought over from Le Francais.
Okay.
Le Francais.
Le Francais,
fair, what doesn't make a good-looking race car? Is there such thing as a bad-looking race car?
I'm waiting for you two to pipe up with an answer.
A Sinclair C5, I think. That probably wouldn't make a good-looking race car.
Sinclair C5.
Can you imagine the grid
that's a throwback.
Can you imagine the grid of Sinclair C5? That would be amazing. Friend of the show, Scruffy Bear Pictures, Darren S. Cook was there racing for Team Brit in the BMW 116. He did very well, had a good weekend out. He did all right, didn't he, Nick?
So good to see that. So good to see that man behind the wheel. He is an absolute diamond. He's also the guy that did our intro video. So if you have any video work that he's doing, he's your man. He's good like that.
Can I just say a big thank you to Darren as well? He collected a bit of additional footage for us of the classic touring cars and sent it over. So Darren, if you're watching, Thanks, mate. Top man.
He is an absolute legend.
He's a gorgeous
I love that man.
He's a legend.
Fantastic. That's what I like to hear, Darren. There's a lot of love coming to you. Right, we go over to you, Ian. You were covering the Classic Touring Car Racing Club and the Junior Saloon Car Championships. How did you get on?
Yeah, well, very good. Saturday we did it for TV. I don't know if anybody's seen the show. It was a broadcast last Saturday.
That's so cool. That's so cool. You've been on TV. That's mental.
It was crazy. It was just Saturday. We just did the Saturday with Free Sports. And jam-packed day, and please don't ask me to remember all the results because since then I've been on a golf course about 3 or 4 times, and of course we've done another race weekend. But it was hectic, it was busy. Sunday we were back there again doing the rest of the races, just our normal sort of MySupercar live stream. And we did the junior saloons as well, and I've got to say, big grids there. And the racing, by the way, guys, it's certainly race 2. I can't remember off the top of my head how many cars started. It's like 24. And 23 finished. The only reason one car didn't finish, it was a late retirement due to, I think it might have been an engine issue or something. But there was no accidents, but the racing was fantastic. And these are juniors, by the way. What are they, 14 to 17 or something?
14 to 17, aren't they?
I'll tell you something, Paul, seeing it firsthand, the motorsport's in pretty safe hands in the UK.
Well, it's good to see. And to be honest, you say junior drivers. I watched a Ginetta Junior race the other day, and it was just mayhem from turn 1. So some series can get it right. Even if it is a bunch of juniors in a Saxo, if it's close racing, it's close racing. But I take it was Lewis Saunders by the double again.
It was Charlie Hand second, but running very close. Lewis Saunders has won every race so far this year, but Charlie Hand is right there, and Alex Solly as well coming home in third. But if there's a problem, Alex is going to be there to pick up the pieces. So it's far from a done deal yet, boys. It's still early days for the junior saloons this season, isn't it? But Lewis Saunders is going great guns at it, but he's not having it all his own way. It's not as comfortable as it might look according to the standings.
No, that's good.
It's
that's what we want, isn't it?
You want someone like that to watch.
Single make series that is that nail biting. Yeah, that's what you want.
Yeah, and I mean, personally, I can remember the likes of Lando Norris coming up through the ranks when he was in British Motorsport, when he did juniors and came up through. So, if we're watching the potential, he didn't do the JSCC. He did do the Ginetta Juniors, and I remember watching him in that. He was awesome.
Oh yeah.
But again, you watch someone like Lewis Saunders. Who's to say he's not going to be in a touring car in 5 years' time? That's the thing.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
He's got the ability. He's already got the ability. So yeah, absolutely.
Or if he could end up in GTs or whatever, the sky's the limit. But I'm sure if the backing's there and he's got the proven race results, then he could go for it.
This is the great thing. You start at that age and you start getting a name for yourself from then, and start building your profile. Then, thankfully, you can keep building on it from there without running out of time. I mean, budgets obviously massively increase the further you go up that ladder, but perfect time, perfect age to be starting at it. I mean, unlike us old fuddy-duddies who are still doing it or just starting to do it.
It's a bit more difficult when you lock your hair and growing a beard, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
Life just slaps him in the face, or in Nick's case, on the top of his head.
Yeah.
So those Red Bulls he's drinking. That's what's lost his hair.
Exactly. Ian, did you manage to compile any footage as a summary to watch, or?
I'm afraid I didn't. No, not for that. I've got a couple of images to show a bit later, but
moving on.
But yeah.
Well, the one thing I will say, if you cross over to the MySupercar page and look at their videos, the entire live stream is there to watch. It is fantastic racing, especially Saturday. I was quite entertained by the racing in the Thunder. Unfortunately, it was a bit of a nasty accident with Aid Hawkins and Jazz Soper was on the Saturday. That was horrific.
It was down the start-finish straight as well.
That Alpha is so bloody gorgeous as well. I was gutted when I saw that crash.
I'll be honest, I didn't want to put this footage up live tonight because it may be a bit contentious, but I did see some onboard footage from the car behind. Have you guys had a chance to see it? From Andy Wilson, I believe.
Oh, yeah, I've watched, So sorry, the car behind the accident. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. I think it's a bit. There was maybe a gap, maybe wasn't a gap. For me, it looked like the Alpha put a little wheel on the grass, and it just. Yeah.
I can tell you guys, I was down in the pit lane. I was down in the pit lane, and Leon and I went over to film it as the guys got out of the car. Please say they were both okay. But they weren't very happy with each other. Let's just put it that way. And
I did see by the live, I did see by the live
going on it.
Yeah, it was a good job. That Holmes was in the way because I'd have had him.
We were doing it for TV, but we were live as well. And I thought I better not go to put the microphone underneath their mouths because I'll probably get told to.
What an opportunity!
What an opportunity!
Great opportunity to get black eye. Absolutely.
Yeah, beep, 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 and you're beep, and beep, 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 beep. Would have made for some great footage, but
I think it's back. I think the highlights is going to be back on telly as well. So if anybody does want to watch it on the telly, I'm not sure when, but just go to Free Sports, Sky Channel 422, and look at the listings. It'll be back up.
Awesome. No, I'm looking forward to that. I will say, and again, I'm not just kissing your ass in. I mean, the footage you put up was mega, and
thanks, mate.
I didn't get to watch it all, but watching the Thunder race, some of the cars on that grid, and obviously I'm a sucker, as everybody knows, for a Vauxhall Vectra, and the fact that they managed to pull a old
Plato's car, isn't it?
Hughes' old Plato Super Tourer. Yeah. What a car!
It is the proper one as well, isn't it? It is Plato's old one, I think.
It's Plato's old Vectra. And I talked to Mark Axon quite a bit, but it's it sounded like he had an
started from the pit lane, though, didn't it?
Yeah, but do you know why it started from the pit lane?
Why?
So I spoke to Mark, and the reason he started from the pit lane was because I think they had a garage where everyone else was down in the paddock. And apparently he missed the call up to the assembly area for race one. And so we had to start from the pit lane, which makes for great footage because you see him just cutting through the field. And then I think they did have an issue for race two and had to start from the pit lane again. But
I'll tell you something, Nick. Had he actually started, I think he qualified third. I think he qualified.
Yeah.
Had he started first, he'd have won. He was absolutely flying. He was setting fastest lap after fastest lap. He was on fire. I think he'd have won.
What do you expect? It's a Vauxhall Vectra, best racing car in the world.
Absolutely. Who could disagree with that?
Who could do?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I'm not going to say anything now, Nicholas. We'll just leave it there. James Peter Reddish has joined us. He says hello, and he says the RCZ, the Peugeot that we were on about, is a 260 horsepower cup car with a 6-speed paddle shift sequential box. That's a serious bit of kit, if that is the case.
Nice.
Dave Nixon has commented he loves the live streaming of our races. Looking forward to SNET in a few weeks' time. He likes the Golf too, Ian Waterhouse.
Oh, good man. Absolutely. That's what I like to
hear. Dave Nixon also comments, was the trophy for golf or racing? No, Stefan won a trophy in racing. I think in racing you kind of get to stay awake for enough to get the trophy at the end. So I don't know.
I get a trophy in golf. Every time I hit a golf ball, I go right every time.
There we go. Frank.
Hold on. I'm more concerned. You actually hit a golf ball.
Yeah, I've got some golf clubs. I used to play when I was young. Let's carry on.
Stefan, you need a draw bias club. That's what you need. We can sort you something out. Don't you worry.
Stefan, did you have the little tweed jumper and the little Rupert the Bear trousers?
Can I just say, anybody just tuning in, welcome to the MySupercar Golf Podcast here live on ClubRacingUK.
Not a chance. For the record, though, I do think the more I think about it, we should definitely hold some kind of charity golf event with all club races. If anyone knows of a golf course that doesn't need to be kept in concourse condition, please get in touch.
I can see Nick at the side of the golf course just chipping the crap out of the earth. The ball stays there.
Maybe we should play golf, but we've put the ball in the exhaust pipe, and you've got to fire it out by revving up the engine.
Now 18 holes of that I could do.
Oh, to be fair, lads, Phil's just finished my exhaust, so we can put it to good use before I go racing.
Hey.
Okay, Frank Frosty. Comments, evening, gents, evening, Frank. Hope you're well, mate. Dawn Boyd has put in her first racing rivalry of the evening. Jamie Butcher and myself in the Golf GTI Mark II back in 2009, 2010. We seem to always share the tarmac, sharing podiums and swapping places. Now our lives have changed. We are now family, as his dad is now my boyfriend. We're living in the same street, and we still play out that rivalry on the roads, just for fun, of course.
That might get awkward. Might get awkward if it comes to fisticuffs.
Well, can you imagine that? The girlfriend hits the son on the racetrack. If you're in Andrew's shoes, what do you do?
Bash both their heads together and tell them to get on with it.
Exactly, but if he's got to prep the cars, he'll be busy prepping them in the garage.
Yeah.
Dawn Boyd's also said always
fair play to him for that one.
Dawn Boyd also says she's up for the ambassador shout. Of course we will,
Yeah.
Dawn. We are going to sort something out for all of you guys on the podcast. We're going to put a package together, and we'll do some presenting with you guys. Tony Hunter,
Yeah.
evening, gentlemen. Evening, Tony. Hope you're well. There's a man that preps a golf course, Tony Hunter. So,
Tony.
There we go.
We should talk.
So, Tony, if you could prep a green that can sort of sit a couple of race cars, we put the golf balls in, fire them off. Just you've watched the podcast before, you know what the crack is. Frank Frostick.
We should 100% do this.
It does the Club Racing UK Golf Day. I think the balls will end up black by the end of it through all the soot. Frank Frostick.
Hey, black golf balls.
I think Frank was stood on the pit wall in front of the instant with Aid Hawkins.
He was. I saw him. Yeah, I said hello to Frank. Right. He was right down there.
Yeah, it happened right where he was standing on the pit wall.
I think.
Go on, Nick.
I think Frank set up shop at Brands Hatch. Does he Frank? Have you moved into Brands Hatch? Because every single post of yours I see, you are at Brands Hatch.
Every morning I wake up to a Facebook post and it's Frank at Brands Hatch. Yeah. It's a picture of Brands Hatch at sunrise every morning.
It's getting to a point where I think my Facebook is broken. I'm like, I've seen this already, but it's not. It's just another bloody day.
It is.
Yeah.
It's Bill Murray Ground Day on Facebook. Frank Frostick. Hits the alarm every day. So anyway, we digress. The Classic Touring Car Racing Club, fantastic racing throughout. I know Rob Burley won both the Pre-03 contests. That was good to watch.
Yeah.
The Lancaster MGs, Fergus Campbell was a dub winner again. Nice and big grid there. And James Card won both the Kumo BMW races in his BMW E46 M3. So from that, the BRSCC went to Cadwell Park. We had the Club Sport race there. And within that was the City Car Cup, which we spoke about quite a few weeks ago now. It seems a bit closer than that. There was about 11 cars, I think, on debut.
Okay.
So that's quite a reasonable setup. Nice mix. C1s, Igos, and whatever. My coffee delivery.
Sweet. Coffee.
Yeah. Special guest.
Wouldn't that have been cool? She'd put it through across the side of the screen. It'd come out my side. Wouldn't that have been cool?
Yeah. We should have tried that.
I'm like, the wrong way, aren't I? It would have been like that, and then I'd have bought the mug.
Just quickly, let's try. Has come back. His post has been rerouted to Brands. So there we go.
Go, Rob.
Hold on. Steph, let me just give you a can. Ready? Here comes a can of Red Bull.
That's terrible. Thank you.
No, wrong way.
Apart from the good internet, though. Apart from the good internet, though. This is what I go to my sisters.
Okay, Nick. This is going to make for great listening on the podcast, this bit.
Yeah, for anyone,
anyway, crack on.
for anyone who is listening to us on the podcast, we are being childish and passing cans of drink to each other across the live stream.
Fantastic.
Children.
Oh, God.
Absolute children.
If you were looking for a professional, serious podcast, go elsewhere, because this is just better.
Yeah.
So the club sport, Barry Chandler won overall. Nick Grinrod, who you may recognise from racing pickups, he won in the City Car Cup. There were about 10 or 11 cars on debut, so that was good there. And fancy that, going from pickups to a C1.
Yeah. That's quick right there, isn't it?
He decided he wanted a challenge. I don't know.
I don't know. Nick Tandy, didn't he? Nick Tandy went from Porsche to a Ford KA.
Very true. Very true.
Did.
Yeah, very true.
And we've not seen him since. Oh, where's he gone?
He's been, to be fair, the last time I saw he's been out in the States, isn't he?
Yeah.
He best be back for the Brands Indy to try and hold his title. Otherwise, someone else might win it. And then he'll be forgotten about, I'm afraid.
Well, let's be honest, Steph. With 3 podiums in a row, I believe we should be gunning for that one.
No, I'm not
if only I could think of a team on a hot streak right now. I wonder who it could be.
We're just top 10.
Yeah,
top 10. Keep the car rotating.
Keep the car rotating. Aim for a top 10. That's how we've done it every time. So there we go. Right, I digress. The Fiestas and the STXR Challenge combined grids. The Fiestas had the smaller grid. The Fiesta Championship struggling a bit this year. The XR Challenge, Mark Robinson won the XR Challenge on the combined grid, and Luke Pinder won the Fiestas. Nick, stop that, please. I'll raise the table. If you are listening on the audio podcast, Nick Holmes is making sexual suggestive actions with, I believe, a banana. It could be something else.
I think it's a cheese string, isn't it?
What do you mean?
No. It's a Twix. It's a white Twix.
Okay, so if you are listening on the podcast, Nick was seductively eating a Twix.
There was no seductivity at all. That's not even a word, but...
Nick Holmes and seductive, there's 2 words you don't hear very often.
You have just got a smutty mind.
Yeah. I know that. I don't care. Right, the Fiesta Juniors. Joe Loach won both races. Unfortunately, low grid numbers for the juniors. Hopefully, they pick it up. Hopefully.
They've been struggling for some years, though, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. The problem is they can't allow it to go on for too much longer. Otherwise, it's just going to cost whoever a lot of money.
Yeah.
So question then. So if the Saxo juniors are doing so well, why are the Fiestas struggling? Is it because people go to the Saxos because it's cheaper, maybe?
I think the Saxos are cheaper.
I don't know what the price parity of the 2 is. I'm surprised. We're going off subject a little bit, and I know we've covered costs before.
No, that's fine.
I'm still surprised how expensive the junior series are.
Yeah. Yeah, no, completely agree with you. Like we spoke about it before, didn't we, Nick? When it's £800 for an entry fee in a junior saloon series race, and the registrations fee is like £500.
But why?
Jeez. I don't know.
Why?
It's ludicrous.
What?
I mean, to
in the
me,
nicest way possible. Why? If someone can answer that question, why is racing a Saxo, if you're a kid, 3 times as much as it is for us to race our cars?
Well, effectively,
insurance, probably, Nick. Probably insurance, isn't it?
Insurance, but still pretty mad.
What were the grid numbers, Rob? Do you know for the Fiesta? Because we've now covered both the Fiesta Juniors and both the JSCC, and both they're fantastically run, both series.
I mean, off the top of my head, I can have a quick look at TSL and see if I can bring something up. But off the top of my head, it was around the 10 mark, if that.
Because that's actually, believe it or not, that's almost kind of double what they had last year.
If you put a positive spin on it, fantastic. But in this, it's weird because it's on the one hand we've just had, again, we go back to it, we've just had COVID, lots going on, the recession, stuff like that, and then on the other hand, the MSA, whatever governing bodies have got to fill those grids because they pay for track time, and if they get their money's worth back, the money's got to come from somewhere. Nick Holmes, will you stop doing that? He's doing it again, boys and girls. He's so seductive. Okay, looking at race one, 9 cars finished with 2 retirements. So looking at the Fiesta Juniors, so yeah, race 1, 9 cars finished. There were 2 retirements. And if I bring up race 2, 10 cars finished, 1 retirement. So, okay, 11 cars, which isn't great. I mean, looking at the business side of things, I think a lot of clubs need about 20 to 25 cars to break even, I guess, depending on the circuit. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, the money's got to come from somewhere, whether it's sponsorship, somewhere like that. You know, and Nick points out, you've pointed it out well, Nick. Effectively, you've got 2 junior series that are fighting for spots, and then if you've got extra money, you can then go to the big boys on the Toka package, the Ginettas.
Mm-hmm. But that's it. I'd understand paying the extra money if it not fast tracked you, but put you on that progressive ladder. But
yeah,
it doesn't guarantee you a spot to the Ginetta Juniors or minis or anything like that, does it? I don't know. I think insurance is a good shout. If anyone can confirm that, I feel as a parent, I feel for the parents that end up having to pay a lot of money to get their junior drivers in.
Well, if you want a cheaper option, take up golf.
Well, Top Gear proved that with Rallycross. So Rallycross is cheaper than golf, and you can finish well. AJ Howe comments, guys. We talk about the younger generation. AJ Howe, hey guys from Team Solar Motorsport. I know they're racing at Cadwell this weekend, so good luck everyone racing in Time Attack this weekend. Ben cannot comment tonight as he's been banned from Facebook for being a silly boy. Looking beautiful as always. Thank you, sir. Thank you. But going from that, Gareth Broadbent's Litland, he's just taken up karting, so we look forward to seeing how he goes.
Yeah.
So again, bringing the youth through. But Fiesta Juniors is concerning. We'll see how it goes. But the polar opposite of that meeting was the MX-5s. I think the Mazdas had 3 grids. Okay, so they had to fit 40 odd on a grid. They had 3 different groups: Group A, Group B, Group C, and I think it was about 25 cars per group. Or 60 cars in total turned up. 60 cars entered. That's for the Mark 1s. And the Super Cup, the Mark 3, that was just as full.
Can I just ask a general question here? Because there's so many MX-5 series out there. How many Mazda MX-5s Mark 1s were manufactured, by the way? Was it about 50 billion or something? Because there seems to be a never-ending supply of MX-5 Mark 1s.
Well, to be fair, they are popular little roadsters, aren't they? And I think, because we've got to this point where a lot of retro. We talked about it with the classic stock hatch. A lot of the retro hot hatches are starting to up the price. They reckon it's going to happen in the next few years with the Mark 1 MX-5. But there still seems to be a glutton of them out there. It's a front-engined, rear-wheel drive roadster, low on power, good handling chassis.
Yeah.
Could somebody out there watching right now please help us and just tell us how many Mark 1 MX-5s were manufactured worldwide? I'd love to know, because
if someone could say
so many MX-5s, please somebody tell us. Please comment and let us know. I'd love to know.
If someone could get that magic number. Nick?
Just a quick one, guys. Let's go slightly off subject. Who's got other sounds going on in the background? Because this is really irritating.
What sounds are you on about?
I can hear someone talking.
It may be me, Nick. Hang on. Someone having a conversation in the garden.
Tell him to shut up.
Well, to be fair, it is my sister. It is her house, so it would be a bit rude.
Don't care. Go shut that door now, because I can't hear anything.
You can't hear anything?
Go shut the door.
Oh,
not very well. I'm deaf as a post, and I can't concentrate on more than one thing at a time.
Right, Ian.
Yeah, right, guys. MX-5s. How many are there?
Apparently,
take a guess. How many? Let's see. Let's take a guess, and then I'll Wikipedia.
Right, have a guess, and I'll tell you what Google says.
Nick, how many are you going for? What's the guess?
I'm going to go with 670,000.
Right, come on, world, get in your answers. I'm going to go for 1.5 million.
Ooh, I was going to go in the millions too. Go on, Stefan.
What are you going for, Ian? I know what the answer is. Well, I know what Google's answer is anyway.
Okay, I'm going to say worldwide, by the way, we're talking about. So So I'm going to say 1.8 million.
FinSport's gone with 400,000.
Oh, it's got to be more than that, surely. Worldwide, by the way, not just sent over to the UK.
Let me
Stefan.
Google search.
That's all right. Steph's asking Google how big the number is. There's too many zeros. I can't say it.
Go get Google Translate to read it for me. No, it's not. Yeah. It's not. What? Are we ready for the number?
Yes, get the number up. Come on.
Apparently, according to Google, there's 531,890 made
worldwide.
No, I went 470.
Apparently, I think we could all.
No, I didn't. So what's that? 531,000
worldwide.
I don't know. There's the
Guinness
531,000. MX-5 is the best-selling two-seater sports car in history with a total production of 131,890 units.
So if that's the case, then 530,000 of those are race cars.
Yeah. And 520,000 of them were at Cadwell Park last week.
Yeah.
As far as the Super Cup is concerned, Luke Herbert and Sam Smith shared the wins. I did notice when I was watching the comeback of touring cars, Paul O'Neill did make a comment that it's a really good GT feeder series. And when you think about it, it kind of is. Abby Eaton raced and won the championship, and she's now a GT driver for the Grand Tour. You've got other fantastic drivers that have raced in that series. Paul O'Neill himself has raced in the series and rates it very highly. So, again, it's another one to add to the ladder. To carry on our racing lineup, because I want to get on to the debate, chaps. We went to Alton Park with MSVR, and what were we there for, boys?
I forgot about that. Bloody trophy hunting, that's what we were doing.
There we go. We start off, the track day trophy was won by the Civic of Heslop and McHugh. TDC won by Darkside Developments. They had rather a cracking weekend because we move on to the Enduro KA.
Don't highlight us, Christ. There's some amazing machinery in those other series, and then you fast track to the KAs. Come on, man.
I fast tracked over them. We are going to talk about in particular the track day trophy in a little bit. Enduro KA, we came third. Club Racing UK did come third.
After the end of the race.
After the end of the race, there was.
We came over the line in fourth.
We came over the line in fourth. IP Racing, sadly, were found to be 4 kilos underweight, so they were disqualified. So Darkside Developments inherited the win. Very well done to those guys. Burton Power came second. That Stefan and Matt were hunting down. Sadly, couldn't quite get it over the line. Tango and Crash, I'm really happy for these guys. They won the Dagenham Dustbin. Yeah, I was made up
that car looked mega. That looked good. No, that was a good-looking car.
It was a very good-looking car.
I know we shouldn't what ifs and maybes and this, that, and the other, but should have been our win, shouldn't it, Steph?
Oh well, you know.
Describe your race.
What happened?
That's
Steph?
motorsport.
What happened?
Come on, Steph. What happened, Steph?
Just you're making me go down avenues that we don't need to go down.
Yeah, but we.
What you mean? You mean down the inside? You mean down the inside of Cascades? That avenue.
Yep. We got up to third pretty quick. I was battling quite hard with a fellow driver behind. Incident occurred into Cascades, put us to the back.
What was the incident, Steph?
Oh, well, you know, why? Why are you trying to fall off the fence? It's not.
No. I'll defend him here. It was a racing incident.
Yeah.
And obviously got knocked back. Because I was team manager the weekend. I wasn't racing. I had my headset on, and I'm like, yeah, this is great. Next minute, he comes screaming on the radio, big off! I've had a big off! Ah! I was like, oh, here we go. And yeah, so obviously.
I mean, I've gone from Cascades to entering the track at the second chicane the other side. It's like I did go quite far.
You did go quite far. You were very lucky not to roll that actually in the old kitty litter.
If you do have a chance, boys and girls, I think Stefan, did you put it up on your status, Stefan?
Yeah,
Stefan did put it up on live, so
Instagram as well. And
it's up there.
It's up there.
It's up there somewhere. So if you have got a chance, then have a view at Steph's wonderful car control.
But well, as Frank says, spaghetti hands. You got to love the spaghetti hands, but you know, keeps the car going in the direction I need it to go. So I'm happy with my the way I drive. Sorry,
there we go, guys.
All jokes aside, if you'd gone into that gravel sideways, you were going over. You would have rolled it.
That would have been. I think if that would have happened, but that's
going over. Made out of it. And then we carried on. We put some mega stints together. Made up to. I think we made it up to third. Burton Power got a penalty for track limits, and then unfortunately we got another penalty for track limits. So we ended up fourth on the road, and then.
So we were third, and we were we were second.
Oh, sorry. Yes, we were.
So we were third. Dark Side were up the road by I think about 14 seconds, but Matt, bloody, I know we sing his praises all the time, but I think he was taking something like 2 seconds a lap out of them.
Yeah.
So we would have been second was ours, and then we got a bloody stop-go penalty because of track limits. So that then put us back to fourth, and then Matt did the same of hunting down Burton, and again he was gaining on him about 2 seconds a lap. But I think it was it Tim Valentine in the car?
Yeah, Tom Valentine.
I think Tom's sorry. Yeah, so and then he put in I think he could see us coming, and he started to really put the pedal down, and now he did enough to keep us in front, keep us behind. So it was a great race, great end to a race, and even better when we got the news.
It was fantastic. We were just sort of waiting around because there was a bit of a fuddle, bit going on.
It was so funny because obviously we went to, you can't go in Park Ferme, but we were hovering to make sure, give Matt some water and this, that, and the other. And then watching all the cars go on the weighing scales, and then all of a sudden it was let's put first place back on the scales. I was like, oh, hello, something's happening here. Oh, here we go. And then it all started kicking off a little bit, and I was like, oh. And then I heard 4 kilos underweight, and I was like, boys, we got podium.
They came in.
Am I right in thinking? Am I right in thinking that's the 8th enduro car race in total, isn't it? 8, including last year. That's 8 enduro car races. Is that right? 6 last year, and
6 last year.
I know you had the sprint races, didn't you, as well?
Yeah.
But 6 meetings, didn't you? 6 meetings, 2 this year, and you've been on the podium for 3 of them, haven't you?
Yeah.
So that must make you the most successful enduro car team ever.
But it also goes to show what can happen when you have a group of mates that come together, build a car because it's a passion, and go motor racing. We're not a professional team. We're not a professional outfit. We haven't got a bloody great Arctic lorry. It's 3 roller coaster engineers, a forklift engineer, and full-time mechanic. And Phil from Solar Motorsport has taken a lot of time out to come and help us as well. So big thanks to him for that. And lots of other people that have, just popped in, given us support and stuff like that. So again, 3 roller coaster engineers can win a race.
To be fair, there was several of the comments we got, and the fact that that's what club racing is about, isn't it? Is the fact that monkeys like us can leave a racetrack with a trophy kind of thing. And the racing was fantastic at Alton. I wish I was behind the wheel, to be fair.
No, that's fair enough, Nick.
That's not Josh from the Enduro KA, because it was quite a small weekend, wasn't it? It was only TDC,
and then us.
But the racing was awesome, action packed.
It was fantastic. Okay, guys, to round up the racing roundup, we go to BRSCC round at Snetterton. It was the Fun Cup. I've missed out the Fun Cup as, again, a bit more of a professional series. We concentrate on the CMMC and the modified Fords. Mr. Waterhouse, what have you got for us?
Yeah, well, I was there for that. We were live streaming that, and I'll tell you something, I wasn't too sure totally what to expect until I started to do my research. And by the way, what an absolute field of cars that is. 2 NASCARs in the field as well. Let me just show you. Have a look at this, boys.
Yes.
Look at this.
Oh,
so that's,
oh my God,
that's
that is Marcus Bicknell.
Yeah, the Joey Logano
That's Marcus
car,
Bicknell. It's Mustang.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. There's a Pontiac in there as well. And yeah, fantastic stuff. It was a CMMC and modified Fords. Shared grid. So it was massive and absolutely huge. Just look at this.
Yeah. When I saw that picture, I think I showed you, didn't I, Rob? I was like, bloody look at that.
I know. At some point, I was hoping to get on that grid this year, but we'll see.
Yeah, but the thing is, Rob, if you look at this picture right now, I think they would have probably cut you off towards the left-hand side of that picture.
Towards the left-hand side, towards the back, Nick, yeah?
Well, I was thinking more in the pit lane, but yeah.
Yeah, that's to be fair, mate, that's a fair comment. That is, to be fair, mate, that is a fair comment. To be fair, mate,
it's still in the assembly area.
Yeah, it's still in the assembly area because I can't start the bloody thing. But again, if it was Nick's Vectra, it'd probably be at the back somewhere, covered in rust. But we'll divulge from that.
But as you can see, the front of the BMW there, right to the right-hand side, Gavin Dunn, he took the honours. He took the overall honours for the CMMC, won the races. Piers Grange, in his Escort Mark 1, I believe, he was a bit of a hero going forward and modified Fords. I'll tell you something, it was magnificent stuff. And Rod Burley, again, was racing. And he was, I think he was out in the lead, actually. Lost the wheel.
His front hub broke, didn't it?
Yeah, he was absolutely fine. I spoke to him at length after. He was absolutely fine. He was out in the lead. And his wheel came off. And yeah, what a shame that was. But it was a treat of racing. Like I said, the Fun Cup were there as well. So actually, it was quite an early finish because the Fun Cup. I did message Fun Cup and said, "Look, we're there. Do you want us to come do some live streaming?" And he didn't come back to me.
Oh, that's nice.
What can you do?
What they obviously, Ian, they obviously didn't want to make it on their telly.
To be fair, if you'd seen his invoice for just being here now, I probably wouldn't have wanted to pay for it.
Yeah, it's a good job you're not paying for this one then.
Yeah. To be fair, I've got other things to pay for at the moment.
I was waiting for that. But as always, fantastic coverage.
My invoice for this reads 0. Yeah, it was good. Stetton's quite a difficult track to film out when it's single cam. But I'm here for the love. I'm here for the love of you boys.
Well, in all seriousness, as soon as this podcast idea came up, I put it across to Stefan and Nick. As soon as Ian heard about it, he couldn't wait to get involved. And again, MySupercar have been integral to helping us out with this podcast. So thank you guys once again. And now, guys, we are going to move on to tonight's debate. Racing rivalries. We're going to start off with the professional side. So what rivalries do you guys remember watching when you were watching racing growing up? Nick, I'll start with you.
Cleland Soper.
92.
All day long. 92 Silverstone. Coming into the complex.
The man's an animal.
The man's an animal. But, I mean, you still see that video now, and it's still incredible to watch. And it absolutely blew up the BTCC, didn't it, really?
Yeah, but the funny thing was, it was at the last round, wasn't it? So Alan Gow couldn't really take advantage of it.
No, it's quite... I think I was listening to a podcast with John Cleland a little while back, and it was quite... It's not just a crash. There was a lot of implications to that.
Yeah.
I think they got heavily wrapped for it afterwards, but you'll have to listen to it. There's definitely a John Cleland podcast out there somewhere. But
I know
I think they were going to get they were going to get into a lot of trouble for it. And
from what I can remember, they sort of decided to join forces in the end, didn't they? To stop them getting reamed.
Yeah, because they would have ended up with licenses being taken away and all sorts. So, yeah, but I mean, the footage is iconic, isn't it? The way the old Cavalier up on 2 wheels and then Soper straight in the side of the door.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was going to come to Stefan Marsh at this point, but he's disappeared. Sky Broadband has claimed another victim. Stefan Marsh has left the podcast for the moment. He will be back, I think. Ian Waterhouse, I'll come to you. What racing rivalries can you remember?
Well, I'm going to go to Formula One because in the 90s, I was I've always been a big Formula One fan, but for the 90s is when I started to fall in love with it, really. And certainly Mansell in 92. But my first sort of rivalry, it started in 95, and you might know, Schumacher Hill.
Yes.
And it was when Schumacher punted Hill off. Ever since that moment, I supported anybody but Schumacher. I didn't care. And of course, Hill being British, I wanted him to win. But it was the same for Villeneuve and Schumacher in 97. Just so long as Schumacher didn't win, that was it for me. So it started with Schumacher Hill, because I know they had a big rivalry. And then pretty much anybody who could beat Schumacher. Schumacher versus anyone. So Häkkinen, I always wanted Häkkinen to win. And then, again, it was, what year was it? It was 99, wasn't it, when Schumacher broke his leg? And it was Irvine against Häkkinen
he went off because he crashed at Stowe, didn't he? At the
British Grand Prix. It was at Silverstone, yeah. He went off and broke his leg. And that was what started it for me, because after then he went to Ferrari, didn't he, in 96. And there weren't much cop for a bit, but then he started to come back against Häkkinen. And then, of course, he started that period of dominance. And then, again, it was just anybody.
Became one of the greatest.
But it started with Michael Schumacher, Damon Hill. That was where my rivalry for Formula One started.
And we welcome back Stefan Marsh to the Club Racing UK podcast after a Sky Broadband-induced blackout. I have to agree with you there. I do remember when I was young, growing up, I supported Häkkinen. It was basically anyone but Schumacher, wasn't it? Obviously, David Coulthard, when he was sort of running against it, and then... and I can remember that. Can you remember that iconic Häkkinen overtake on Schumacher at Spa with the back marker Riccardo's on?
Yeah.
If anyone's watching, if you can remember that, stick it in the comments, because I can. It was awesome.
Any other passes onto, don't they? About 200 miles an hour. It was just one either side, almost touching the grass. It was sensational.
Down the end of the straight, and he just comes out afterwards and goes, that was pretty good. Which is typical Mika Häkkinen, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So,
we actually we passed Mika Häkkinen last year, didn't we, Steph?
We did, yes, and we did, Nick. Yeah.
When we went to the Goodwood Ball together, not together, but together.
I'm not sure it's something we should really announce. The world.
What?
The fact that you both broke in.
Oh wow! You didn't.
We didn't. Look. No, that's not true. We were at Goodwood, and it looked like there was a club, so we just checked it out and
good time.
Got in for a good time.
Sorry, it's up to security to stop you, isn't it? Really?
Well, yeah, I suppose if security weren't doing their bloody job, then certainly. So, Nick, have you got any more rivalries you can remember watching?
Plato nil.
I think times. Yeah, I can remember that iconic moment of Rockingham. I'm going to rip your face off.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like you two. I can't remember yesterday, let alone what happened all these years ago. I've got a brain like a sieve, but obviously I'm a much bigger touring car fan than an F1 fan. But yeah, Plato nil. That's always been a cracker. Like back in the height, I think Plato was on the Honda podcast the other day. What's that about?
I know. I can believe I listened to that podcast, right? And the worst thing was when they were both on there. Yeah, we're actually quite matey nowadays. Times have changed. I'm like, what? It was Stefan. Seriously, it's the weirdest thing I ever had to listen to.
When they were like great guns at each other, they're taking chunks out of each other on the track, and then they get off the track, and they're still taking chunks out of each other. And even I think it was it. Matt Neal's dad and Plato's dad, like they were practically going at it as well. It was brilliant.
Oh yeah, because in the middle of that iconic moment, you then get Plato's dad turns around. For God's sake, tell him to stop it.
Yeah.
It's just that's the bit I remember. Matt Neal with his fist clenched, and then there's Plato's dad with his little posh voice. But yeah, I mean, Plato certainly got himself into some dices. I can remember watching him on Grandstand versus Ivan Muller. That didn't go very well, and ultimately ended up with Plato getting the sack.
Go on, Steph. You can reach it.
Stefan Marsh. Is there anything you can sort of remember, Stefan, you watching or?
Not really. I mean, it's everything you've listed on here, Rob, if I'm honest. But
I love it. That's amazing. Just pick one then. Best thing was, actually, wait, Steph, before you pick one, I reckon, now this is just a guess, but I reckon the second and third one, I bet you don't even know who they are, do you?
I haven't got a clue. Not a clue.
I put a couple of examples on there because I know some of these guys like to make notes. Obviously, Stefan hasn't made many notes this week, but the two I've got on there. If you are watching and you watch the V8 Supercars, right? I used to watch it on what was Motors TV in the 2000s, and the big ones were Scaife and Ingle and Murphy versus Ambrose. Now, if you know the Australians, they do not give a crap. Okay. So Eastern Creek 2003, I'll set the scene for you. Mark Scaife is going for the championship. He goes down the inside of Russell Ingle at the hairpin. Coming out of the hairpin, Ingle goes, I'm not going to take that. Turns into Scaife, who then spins across the track into the barrier. His championship's over. It's absolutely amazing footage. Scaife he
was coming into the pits that lap as well, wasn't he? So he didn't have to overtake him.
He didn't have to overtake him. He chose to, but he needed track position. And it also, what spiced it up was the fact that Russell Ingle's teammate was who Mark Scaife was fighting for the championship with.
Yeah.
So, safety car comes out. The car's being cleaned up. Mark Scaife is stood by his car. He chucks his gear at the marshal and runs out at Russell Ingle that's on the circuit, shaking his fist, giving it the big one. Russell Ingle then swerves towards Mark, and it all kicks off. It was in the national press in Australia. It was absolutely mental.
He tried to run me over. He tried this.
Yeah. So it all kicked off and it all went in the press. And even to this day, they both don't agree on what happened. Ingle felt that he was touched going into the hairpin. It all got, he gave retribution. It all got a bit tasty. And the other one is Murphy at Ambrose. That was 2005 at Bathurst. That was a massive accident going up the hill. Ambrose in the Ford Falcon. He didn't like them. And Murphy just went, no, I'm not having this. So
nerfed him straight into the wall.
Well, he hits his B pillar, but Ambrose wasn't completely. Ambrose tried it around the outside into the dip. It's a one-car corner if you're going up the hill into the tight stuff. Massive accident, and there's a famous commentary. The track is jammed. Loads of cars everywhere, broken bits, and it's fantastic.
It was. I should just point out for anyone who doesn't watch I'm just getting into it, so I'm no expert on the V8 Supercars. But I've been listening to the Under the Bonnet podcast with old Davey Reynolds and all those guys. It's bloody brilliant. But I love the Aussies' way of thinking. It is, instead of giving us penalties, you just get served. If someone owes you or you owe someone, you know it's coming. And I know people won't agree with it. And I know it's not banger racing or anything like that, but I do like that. I do like that mindset that, if you serve someone,
that's it, isn't it?
Yeah. I think that's why the Aussie V8s are just brilliant to watch.
But then on the flip side, and this dovetails us nicely into our second part of the debate. The V8 Supercars is a full professional championship, full corporate sponsors, millions of pounds being spent. The drivers have to have that sort of thing. But what if it's Dave that lives down the road that's getting his Fiesta out from the garage? And I'm going to set the scene. One of the reasons I put this debate on tonight, there was quite a nasty incident at a race circuit last weekend. I have spoken to one of the co-drivers involved. It was his co-driver that was badly hurt in the accident. At this stage, it looks like the car that had the accident was deliberately taken out by the other car. They were coming out of the pits after a red flag incident. An incident had happened earlier in the qualifying session that this driver had heard about, and it was one of his mates. And it does look like he's decided while he's coming down the hill, he's going to turn right straight into the other car and send him off to serve him. The car then rolls several times. The driver is badly injured. He gets taken to hospital, has to have scans, the hospital stay, the works. So at what point in club racing does it get too far? Let's be honest. With rivalries in club racing, we watch it on the telly and we go, wow, this is fantastic. But if you're doing it on a weekend, how far's too far? Nick?
Well, the minute you think that it's okay to serve someone off a track, I think that's too far. I don't know. Heat at the moment, stuff like that. I'm not going to lie. I've had incidents on the track, and I've wanted to go throttle someone for it. But
that's not heat at the moment, though, is it? That's not heat at the moment, is it?
No, that's premeditated.
If you've seen that person coming out, you know, I mean, we don't know if it is or not, do we? But I would like to think that certainly in club racing, as you guys know, that I'm not a racing driver myself. That's why I'm in front of the camera and not behind the wheel, because you wouldn't need to push me off the track. I'd probably fall off it anyway. But I would like to think that nobody goes out there thinking, right, I'm going to punch somebody off. Only because you're going to damage your own car as well, surely. In club racing, if you do that anyway.
I think everyone's spending their own money on their own cars, and everyone moans about how expensive it is. I think everyone should be looking out for everyone and trying their best not to damage everyone's car. It's not necessary. At the end of the day, you don't win mega bucks for winning or whatever. You just get the bragging rights for winning. So if the move's not on, the move's not on. You don't just wait a lap, try a different angle, and all the rest of it. There's no need for extreme contact. Obviously, there's going to be a few knocks here and there, but there's no need for extreme contact. That's going to cost the other driver money. It's not necessary in club motorsport, I don't think.
Well, I think as well, when it gets to a point where you feel you have to deliberately take someone out, that's when you need to, as far as I'm concerned, that's when you need to hand your license back. Because if I did that to someone on the road, you know, in this situation, it was a qualifying session that was effectively, they were on their green flag lap. They weren't fighting for position, and it had been it was something that this driver wasn't even directly involved with, and he's taking retribution for someone else. At that point, it becomes almost psychotic. Because
you'd be facing jail if you did that on the roads. You could be facing jail, couldn't you, if you did that on purpose?
Quite rightly.
And we're not so sure, by the way, yet, are we? We don't know if this was actually on purpose, but if it was, if you did that on the road, you're facing jail time.
I mean, to be from I have certain sources. I have to keep certain stuff anonymous because, as we speak, there are certain legal implications at the moment, and there's stuff going on in the background, in particular with the MSA. But the main thing is the driver that was involved in the accident is okay. It looks like the offending driver got quite a large fine, 6 points on his license. It does look like it potentially is being taken further to maybe get a ban. And again, I mean, we saw it a couple of years ago with Dan Tickton, didn't we? The Formula 4 driver that came through the safety car line and hit Ricky Collard, if you can remember that. And we all said at the time, that's a professional racing series, and we all said at the time, that's bloody disgraceful, he needs to be banned. And he was.
Yeah.
So if you then do that in a club racing car, to me, it almost feels, okay, not worse, but...
Yeah, I mean, my one, you know, as we've just said, is if you've premeditated, if you've planned something like that, you need to have a serious word with yourself for that. If you serve someone under the heat of a moment kind of thing, oh, bloody hell, I've been guilty of that.
Yeah.
I think anyone listening, get your comments in, by the way, actually, if you've been the receiver or the giver as such. We've all, it's you know, it's competitive sport. At no point, you know, if you're not doing it and you're not passionate about it, then you know, there's that side of it, and stuff gets said and stuff gets done, and so that side of it is, it doesn't matter what level you're at. If I was outside racing bicycles, for instance, and it would still happen there. But
I think
if you've purposely gone out and just ruined someone's day, and quite frankly, you're a dick. As simple as that.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the car itself. Oh, you saw the car, didn't you, Nick?
Oh God. Well, yeah. It was out before we went out qualifying, I think it was, and nasty accident. Just for the record, as you said, the driver was already okay, but top marks to the people who designed, built, and
prepped his car.
Made the car prep.
It's the cage did the job.
Cage did the job very well. And for the record, I mean, I'm not saying both of them were like it, but that was 2 rollovers, 2 red flag sessions in the. Was it the TDC or TDT?
TDT, I think it was.
So just obviously made us a little bit nervous, didn't it? Hey, Steph.
No, it's fair enough. It's one of those things. You can, in the heat of the moment, you can see it before. In the heat of the moment, something can go. If you're fighting for a championship, I've certainly seen it before where 2 cars have ended up in an altercation that's ended in damage. One driver gets disqualified, and there's been a bit of needle between them before, and it just blows up. It's happened in a lot. It's happened in a lot of club racing series over the week.
Do you know what? I'll put my name on the line here. I think correct me if I'm wrong if you are listening, but like Snetterton last year with us in the KA, I obviously punted off the We Buy Any Car lot, getting frustrated because they were a lap down. I put a move on that wasn't there. And until I saw the footage myself, I still stood by that the door was closed and they were at the wrong. And eventually I saw the footage and was like, actually, it was my fault. But the next race, they then served me a beauty and bent one of our steering arms and ruined our Alton Park race. And as I say, I got out of that car fuming. I was gunning for them. But then the more I thought about it, I just thought, in actual fact, it's probably payback for me serving them at Snet.
Well, it's funny you say that, Nick, actually, because AJ Owens just commented, and he said, I've never deliberately swerved someone, but if they give it out, they have to be prepared to get it back, no matter what level. And we've seen it, haven't we? We've seen it in Formula One. We've seen it. We see it with you there. Whether it's right or wrong,
I'll hold my hand up. Not immature race. I haven't been racing long. And just heat of the moment racing, it does happen. Yeah. Surely I'm certainly not the only person. That's for sure. Please put comments up, guys. Defend what I've said. But yeah.
Hashtag defend Nick Holmes.
Defend Nick Holmes.
Defend Nick Holmes.
It's always a delicate subject when it comes to contact because immediately, and again, Ian, we discussed it earlier. Aid Hawkins and Jazz Sampra, as soon as they got out of the car, they were at each other. It was you, it was you, it was you. And of course, as well, nowadays, you have social media. And social media just blows everything up because immediately one side can go, well, he's done this, this, and this. And then the other side can go, well, he did this, this, and this. So it stirs it up, makes it worse. And the people I ultimately feel for at times are the championship organisers because they don't want to ultimately see that their championship being dragged through the mud, which, no one wants that. At the end of the day, no club series is going to deliberately go out to say to people, right, give it a good and do X and Y and, just have a good panel bashing exercise. And they've got to delicately police people's right to talk about what they're racing and their side of the story. But at the same time, if it's something that's going to bring their championship into disrepute as well, they have to police that.
Yeah.
So it's a delicate balance. And with, like I say, with social media nowadays, it does get a bit tricky.
I guess it gets messy.
AJ Owens come back and says he agrees with you, by the way, Nick.
Well,
he agrees with you.
Oh, good. Thanks, AJ.
There we go. Well, to be fair, you and AJ are probably serving each other on the PS3 or PS4.
No, I've jacked that in now.
Oh yeah, you've jacked that in now. Fair enough.
Yeah, Craig's taken over that now, and he's doing his own race series. But
fair play. Why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, to be honest, lads, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about it tonight. After hearing about that, obviously there is a competitor out there now that's 10 grand down. His car's wrecked, and the other side as well. When I was speaking to my source, is the fact that the driver involved, his other half is due to drop in 2 weeks, and it makes you think, doesn't it? there is a family element to it, which is effectively he is going out as his hobby.
Yeah, but you have that at any level.
Yeah.
You know, this is going off subject a little bit, but obviously we're going out to have fun. We're going out racing. It's a hobby. It's a hobby. It really is.
It is, but, yeah.
I mean, I can only hope that it isn't what started this conversation. I'd really like to think it was a pure accident. I dread to think it isn't, but
yeah. Stefan, any comments?
Yeah, and that's important, isn't it? Yeah.
It's exactly the same. It's like we always hope that it's an actual accident. It wasn't premeditated, and everything's not intentional. If it's an accident, it's an accident. You are racing. Accidents are going to happen. It's inevitable. But as I said before, in club motorsport, my personal view is, you should always remember the person you're racing is in the same position as you. You don't want to go home after every single race and have to change a lot of front wings, change your bumper, and all that rest of it. Just fixing damage. The only things you'll be fixing is the things you break. Whatever the engine or suspension parts for hitting the curves and things like that. Blah blah blah. But you don't want to be every single time after a race rebuilding the car because someone else has hit you or you've gone too far and you've hit someone else. We don't need that kind of costing in club motorsport. It's not. It doesn't help anyone. It's up to you. We go and racing. The rest of it, we should all, remain clean and keep ready to keep racing. You don't. As I said before, you don't win that. You don't win a 20,000. It's not guaranteed. Then as suddenly a race in a PCC if you suddenly win a race. So, think ahead. There's another lap. Just try your best to make sure you get that move on for the next lap or whatever. It's like your hero moves. It means absolute sod all. I mean, I'm holding up, the trophies and stuff gone from. Well, in theory, we're proud and happy for it, but it doesn't mean anything really. I'm glad that we've won the trophies and we've got the trophy, the car that's ready pretty much to go, apart from a new exhaust flexi for the next race. I don't want to hold up a trophy, but then I've then got to reshell the car.
Yeah, well,
it doesn't make any
kind of like our first podium last year. It's like, yay, we have third, but don't look at the car.
Yeah,
the car's knackered.
It did get a bit like that, didn't it?
It's not effective in club motorsport. It doesn't work.
No,
it's like we watched a few races, a few weeks ago. And I know people want to win and they want to do well and stuff, but it's not worth running in the back of people, shutting them off the track to get your podium. When you're only going to get booted off anyway, and you caused yourself damage, you caused someone else damage, cost a load of money for what? There's no need for it. I personally believe once you've stepped up and sponsored, earning loads of money and all the rest of it, and it means things. And when you're winning and you're earning more money and you're shutting people off, then you get away with it. You get away with it, but.
So just to digress on that a little bit, then, Steph. So what you're saying is we shouldn't race. We shouldn't go for that gap. We should just follow everybody over the line. Is that what you're saying?
No, you got to race.
you got
And make sure you got that gap. It's all about making sure it's on point.
See, you're effectively saying we should all be like Formula One.
No. This is crap. Anyway, isn't it?
Nick, there's a term I'm going to give you. It's called racing room. And the car in front, okay.
If someone's gone up your inside and that, there's no point just shutting the door at them and indenting your door in. Give them the room, go back and all that lot, and try again the next lap.
Yeah, that's where your racecraft comes from, isn't it? It's
the little things in that are going to happen. It's inevitable, but it's the full-on, sending it down the inside, beating them off into the barrier. You just crack on and go, there was enough room.
Push to pass and all that jazz.
It's unnecessary.
And I mean, it's the same. I mean, it's like you say, Nick, and Stefan, you've said about, we prep our cars. Some of us sort of prep it at the garage at home and stuff like that. And I kind of think like if I did a modified Fords race, some of the cars on that grid are 6 figures plus.
Mm.
Right, some of those escorts and stuff like that, and they will give me
yours ain't.
Mine isn't, no. But
Yeah,
I
but
will still be.
watch that footage back that we watched a couple of weeks ago. They would give each other hell. They would go, flat out trying to race each other. But you fall away when they enter a corner. They will give each other racing rooms to have a clean race because they don't want to rebuild that because it costs so much money. But the racing is absolutely amazing.
Exactly, they're giving each other. So they are racing. They're giving each other racing room. It is the desperado moves, the one where the gap is about that, and they're thinking, well, if I put it down there, my wing could maybe make it a bit bigger.
Yeah.
In more professional, I mean, Nick.
So, okay, say for instance, we're all club racers.
Yeah.
Us, for instance, we're hardworking, 45-hour-a-week guys.
Yes.
That have real life jobs.
Yeah.
But say you're racing against someone who's got lots of money, and bending their car doesn't really affect their bank balance. Do you get that in club racing?
Yeah,
Yes.
of course you do.
You do, yes.
So there is the. You've got that problem.
Realise what club motorsport's about.
Yeah.
People with loads of money are going to come into it. It's inevitable because it's nice, easy motorsport for them. But you've only got certain times where you can ask them to say, "Look, we are at club motorsport." The person on the receiving end doesn't have the money you've got, but that comes down to event organisers. Contact.
I'm seeing a bit of a business opportunity here. I think we could maybe have anybody who has beef with another driver. We could almost have an end of season Mario Kart wars, and you almost get people in dodgems. So whereas there's no worry about the cost, they just pay £100 and then you go toe to toe in dodgems, and you can chuck mushrooms at each other and vegetables.
Well, we should do a Club Racing UK banger race or something.
Anybody who's got a problem with, so you can just chuck oil behind your car and hopefully spin them off behind you and stuff.
I was going to say the RSPCA may have
covered.
Yeah. I'm in a Ford, mate. What do I know?
But there's loads of them knocking about.
Oh yeah, that's fair enough. Mate. Just get a load of MX-5s. The only problem with that idea, Ian, is I think the RSPCA may have an issue with the turtles being thrown. Just saying.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, that's true. Oh, guys, how did we miss that as a race rivalry?
Yeah.
What,
Mario and Bowser. That's the one I remember.
That's the biggest one. Forget Senna and Prost. Mario and Bowser.
Yeah, Mario and Bowser.
Well, there we go. It's lots to think about. I mean, AJ has commented again. He said,
I was going to say, where's all the comments? It can't just be AJ Owen, but putting his comments up. Surely have we got any other comments about it?
James Peter Ennis, he's actually completely. Oh, hello! I've got my niece in the background.
Good night, Uncle Robert.
Oh, hang on! I've got to say good night.
Good night, Uncle Robert.
There we go. Uncle Robert. So anyway, back. James Peter Ennis have actually asked if Club Racing UK form a team in the Fun Cup. We're not made of money. There's some serious cars in that.
Blimey! I mean, if anyone would like to sponsor a Club Racing UK car in the Fun Cup,
here we go.
Do you have a Fun Cup? Nick wants to drive your car.
I will drive your car.
Nick, a race for you.
AJ Owen did say common sense and racing room in club racing, certainly in classics, and there would be a big queue for him in the Dodgems.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, everyone has to give AJ some racing room. Have you seen every time he goes around Paddock Hill?
Yeah, I know.
Like sideways.
AJ, give up the classic touring cars, mate. Just go to British Drift Championship. I think you'll nail it, mate.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Any more comments?
Have we got any more comments? I can't see them.
I'm just seeing what's on my night. I haven't got anything else.
Source Canada says shows the difference between when you turn things into a championship rather than just a standard race.
Oh, like a series.
Yeah. Which it does, doesn't it? Everyone's then racing for the championship win and everything, and it kind of pushes them a bit more to, make silly manoeuvres and things like that.
Yeah. When there's points on the table or points on the line or stuff like that, it brings that competitive element to it. I mean, we race in a series, but I'm not being funny, but I'm always gunning for the top spot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But again,
definitely.
No, even without penalties, we're still competitive. Well, we're being competitive with other drivers, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, would you say that contact is maybe more prevalent in the one-make stuff where it's a lot more closely matched?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
if you've got if all your cars are the same and every little bit counts, you're going to find yourself on the same piece of track as a few others. Other series is where there's fast cars are gone, slower cars. I mean, you get it. If there's that level, if there's that parity, and cars are of a similar power to weight, etc., then yeah, you're going to have to race.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those things, isn't it?
If you've got a car that's like 1 million brake horsepower and it's up the road in front of everybody else, you ain't got to worry, have you? Clean track, all to yourself.
Until you start lapping people.
Well, yeah.
Because unfortunately, you do see it when the traffic comes in and it causes issues.
Yeah. So
There
again,
we go.
On a more serious note, actually, chaps, I know it's been quite serious, but Kaylee Twigger's watching. Hello, Kaylee. Hope you're well. She commented about half an hour, actually. Just wanted to know, are you really passing the can?
I
was joking, of course, but yeah.
It would be a cracking effort. Oi! We're not good at this, are we?
Nick, I sense an opportunity for you. Ben Neil Robinson of Solar Motorsport has messaged me. Talking about a banger race at Crail in Scotland, around the new year, there is an endurance test, not a race, which is just that. The team that does the most laps, but contact is perfectly allowed and encouraged. You're in there, mate. Lasts for about 6 hours, and there are many casualties. The car is to cost no more than £100. Do it in the Vectra.
Wow. You get.
Oh, you go though.
To be honest, I think that's about the only kind of racing I'm going to be doing anytime soon.
It lasts about 2 minutes anyway.
We've got another comment here from Miles Cook. Project 8 run a warning, yellow and red card system for contact and a mandatory driver standards camera for the past 6 or 7 years or so. People have had to sit out rounds or have been asked not to come back. Contact is always looked at, and if it's deemed avoidable, you get pinged. A fair cry from the rubbing his racing attitude to keep contact and budgets down.
Good. Yeah, that's a very good shout, that.
So
well, that's the other thing, isn't it? We all go racing. I mean, I enjoy racing, but when I grew up, I was watching the British touring cars a lot, and their ethos is rubbing is racing. So obviously, use the juniors as an example. They see it being done by the professionals. What's to say they don't? I'm not saying they are. I'm not saying anyone in particular. But what's to say you don't lead by example?
Yeah.
And they start bringing that into the kind of racing.
I'm sure a percentage that go club racing see that, don't they?
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm not just picking on the juniors.
That's how they do it. That's how I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I'll give them a nudge to pass. That's not quite how it works here, mate.
Yeah. And there we go, guys. So I think we will end our discussion at that.
No more comments?
I can't find any more comments if I do, chaps.
No, I haven't got anything.
Nah, fine.
Andrew Pitcher. It's quite serious, though.
Okay.
What's that?
He says if it's deemed to be a deliberate act, then they should be banned and the police should be involved as it could lead to a serious injury.
The problem is we're getting the police involved. Unless someone's actually died, I think it's quite...
You say that. If you're intentionally trying to hurt someone...
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully that's never happened. I'm not sure if it has, but
it goes into grievous bodily harm and potential manslaughter, doesn't it? But
we're getting quite. It's getting heavy here. This is.
I said it's a serious comment in this.
Yeah.
But potentially it could lead that way. I suppose if it can be proven.
I should just point out though. For anyone who is listening, I'm pretty sure this is 99.9% of club racers don't or wouldn't even go down this route. I think you're looking at 0.1% chance that someone is being malicious.
Yeah,
I think it's very. I mean, my experience of racing, I've been doing it for 5 minutes. Is everybody's behind you? Everybody wants to see your car on the track, even if it's the person you're going to be racing against.
Yeah,
it's normally an amazing place. Yeah, everyone is as we found it. I know we go back to K's a lot. That's what we're racing, but as we found out at Alton, the guys that won the race were giving us parts to keep our car going when we had a couple of issues in qualifying. So.
Yeah. I say
it's the same. Whatever parts we got, anyone needs them, we give them to other people to make sure that they can keep racing because that's what it's all about. So
that is more what
that's what racing's about.
Let's be honest though. Being nice doesn't sell, does it?
No.
Look at the mainstream news. Oh, today this wonderful group of lads helped this elderly person. No, that doesn't sell in the tabloids, does it?
Well,
it's normally doom and gloom and misery because everybody seems to enjoy that more. But
there we go. Okay, guys, I will. I can't find any more comments, so we'll cut the debate short at that. We are getting pushed for time here. Blimey, we're doing this for nearly an hour and a half.
Why are we getting pushed for time? Is it past your bedtime? Is it, Rob?
It is past my bedtime. I want my cup of cocoa and I want to go to bed.
Look at Ian. I've never seen Ian so in the dark before.
Well, hang on, it's because I turned the light off.
I had to keep playing with my mood lighting. To be fair,
there he is.
Steph, Nick, can you?
Let there be light.
Steph and Nick, can you fill us in on any more Club Racing UK competitions or any that are still going?
Go, Nick.
Go on, Steph. Go for it. You go for it. You can have this one.
Well, it's the same competition. It's still up and going. It's for the wired. What's it called, Nick? The wired
GoPro remote kit.
That's the one. So it's £250 worth of kit. All you got to do is subscribe as a member on our website www.clubracinguk.co.uk. I'm a member, £2 a month, £20 a year. Loads of discounts, bro, will be posting, and you'll be entered into all of our competitions, which is currently the wired GoPro remote system for £250.
So you get the entire kit. So you get GoPro lead, charger, holder, the lot. It's £250 worth of kit.
And any following competitions you will also be entered in. So get on it.
Get on it, boys and girls.
Also, should mention as well in our shop now on the website. If I'm going to promote it, I should have one with me, but I do not. We do have our black face masks. If anyone needs one for the track, nice little discreet Club Racing UK logo on the left-hand side. If you fancy one, it is $8.99 on the website.
Also handy for post office robberies, bank robberies, and any other hold-ups you may be interested in to get the budget for racing.
Or paying for that.
Just send the blame our way. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you do rob a bank, please pencil me in for some.
Send a check your way as well, yeah.
Yeah, send a check next way. He kind of in need of it at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. Right, is that all from you guys?
That's it, I think.
You're such a shit.
I think we need to move on quickly.
But you love me for it, Nicholas. Okay.
We will save this for another episode because I feel like we need a special guest for that one.
We may need a special guest for that episode. But ladies and gentlemen,
it'd be more like episode 255 or something like that. When we actually get to that
Nick's halfway through paying.
Oh, no.
When Nick feels a bit better about things, we will explain all in the future. But for now, I've been Robert Lewis. The man next to me has been in Waterhouse, and below me, only on screen, is Stefan Marsh, Nick Holmes, Club Racing UK. It's been the Club Racing UK podcast with MySupercar. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.